Hey guys, Trigger here. Today's a sad day. The Navy and the Department of Defense announced that they are ceasing search operations for the two SEALs that went missing last week off the Horn of Africa. I don't remember what day it was exactly, but it's been about a week, and the DoD is pulling the plug on the search, which is the right call because there's virtually no chance that they would be found alive at this point. The ocean is an unforgiving place, and they are pulling the plug on the search. So I wanted to hop on here, pay my respects to these guys, and give my opinion about a few things. I spent 7 years in the U.S. Navy from 2003 to 2010. I was part of a VBSS team, Visit Board Search and Seizure, which is what these guys were doing at the time they went overboard. I was not a Navy SEAL. I did work with them sometimes, but I was not a SEAL. But I did the same job that they were doing at the time they went missing. They would have been doing this because this was a high risk, obviously, situation. The Navy had intel about these weapons, and they used the SEALs to do this boarding. Most ships have a VBSS team, which is a team of guys that do these dangerous boardings over in this Fifth Fleet area, which is the Middle East area, Navy responsibility. So you'll go to a school, they'll teach you all the basic things you need to do these boardings. You go back to your command and you become part of the VBSS team. You do some more training and stuff like that. So I deployed. I did these boardings on these dhows. I was a firearms instructor, and I also was a combatant coxswain after that, which is Navy terminology for driving a fast boat with a bunch of machine guns on it. So I have a lot of experience with these VBSS operations, firearms, and Navy small boat operations and things like that. And I give a little bit of my background so that anyone watches this and doesn't think I'm just some idiot on the internet rambling, which I am. But I do have a little bit of knowledge about these kinds of things. So I did it, and I just wanted to get on here, pay my respects to these guys, and give a little commentary about, kind of what I think about the situation. There's really not a whole lot to it. It was nighttime, rough seas. Those are really high stakes in the ocean. If you've ever been out in the middle of in the ocean, a lot of times you cannot see your hand in front of your face. It's that dark. These guys would have had Kevlar helmets, vests, rifles, possibly wearing NVGs. And when you wear NVGs, it really messes up your depth perception, which makes this just that much harder. These guys have the highest level of training there is, but still something went wrong. And we would not have done a boarding in these circumstances, but the SEALs tend to play by their own set of rules sometimes. They had intel about these weapons being moved by these dhows, these small wooden boats. So someone made the call to act on this intel, and they thought it would be worth it. And in the end, it led to two SEALs dying. So that's kind of my first take on it. And go ahead and watch this and see what they have to say.
Let's bring in Florida Congressman and Army veteran Mike Waltz. Mike, good morning to you. No man left behind. We are hearing that one Navy SEAL fell into the water and then the other SEAL jumped in after him, and now they're both presumed dead. How are you processing this news this morning?
Well, it reminds me of the famous Churchill quote that Americans and the world sleeps peaceably at night because rough men stand ready to do violence on their behalf.
That's right.
And you have to think about the mentality in rough seas, the middle of the night. You don't know what you're getting into in terms if you're going to be engaged violently as you're boarding the ship, and you see your fellow SEAL go into the dark ocean, and you go in after them. That's how the SEALs train. That's their mentality. And my heart is broken, but we will also make sure that those Gold Star families are taken care of. The other piece, Carly, is just frustration. This is so frustrating. Those SEALs shouldn't have been put in this position. We're dealing with the tentacles. We're dealing with the symptoms of the disease, whether it's the Houthis, our soldiers that are being fired on in Iraq, our ally in Israel that's getting hammered right now by Hezbollah, by Hamas and others, rather than this administration admitting it was wrong on Iran, reversing course on Iran, and drying up the cash.
Sometimes I wish, and I can appreciate where he's coming from, but I wish instead of getting all political, I understand where he's coming from, but let's just keep it to honoring the guys. It seems like our politician these days will take any chance to take a shot at the other party, and sometimes I wish they would just kind of stay on task and just pay honor to the two SEALs that lost their lives here. But politicians, that's what they do, I guess. But sometimes I just wish they wouldn't.
Cash. We will never be able to stop all of the weapons in every ocean, on every smuggling route going to those proxies. You have to dry up the cash in Tehran. We have to go back to maximum pressure. This administration has got to reverse course on its Iran policy, or we're going to lose more service members.
Yeah. Well, the Navy SEAL mission that went sideways was on a boat carrying Iranian weapons used by the Houthis to target those ships in the Red Sea. And so far, the Pentagon estimates that we've taken out about a quarter of the Houthis' arsenal, and yet they remain undeterred. You're talking about increased sanctions, but tactically, is there something missing that the Pentagon isn't doing to deter the Houthis that they should be doing?
Well, we waited too long, number one, and then number two is...
There's a picture of one of those dhows that's fairly typical. That's a pretty large one. From my experience doing these boardings, this was years and years ago. I mean, like nearly 20 years ago. But these boats were typically disgusting. They had a horrible smell. Sometimes they had animals on them. These boats would be underway for weeks at a time. There wasn't really a shower on board. These boats are nasty, but it was part of our job to go on there and search them, and that's what we did. So
it's just going to take time and a lot of ordnance and a lot of military engagement to take down these stockpiles that that the Houthis have built up over time. Here's what we're not doing. We're not getting at how the Houthis are receiving the intelligence of what ships to attack. And they're getting that from Iran. Iran has an intelligence ship in the Red Sea that's helping the Houthis target. Let's take that ship down. But this administration won't cross that line to make Iran itself feel the pain. And therefore, the attacks are just going to continue. And now you see this ragtag terrorist group taking on the most powerful navy in the world. And the propaganda victory for the Houthis and for Iran is tremendous.
So the Washington Post, Congressman, has an article out that details the Biden administration's thinking right now. And they write the Biden administration is crafting plans for a sustained military campaign targeting the Houthis in Yemen after 10 days of strikes failed to halt the group's attack on maritime commerce, stoking concerns among some officials that an open-ended operation could derail the war-ravaged country's fragile peace and pull Washington into another unpredictable Middle East conflict. So, according to that Washington Post article, the thinking is to keep doing what we're doing right now, taking out these Houthi missiles over a sustained period of time. Hopefully they will not be able to attack these maritime ships anymore. But at the same time, there is concern that this could
That's kind of funny, them saying that Joe Biden is formulating a 10-year plan for this situation. That guy can't formulate 10 minutes ahead of where he's at now. So that's somewhat comical.
Draw us into further conflict or possibly a war in the Middle East. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think the administration is backing us into another protracted conflict in the Middle East because of bad policy. And it's quite ironic because this same administration, including Biden, including the Democrats in the House, pull the tapes, were beating up the Saudis and beating up the Emiratis for their engagement, their war with the Houthis. Just a few years ago, we demanded that they shut it down. Now we're dragging ourselves into it. And rather than bombing every single missile site in Yemen, again, let's go after the source of the disease, which is Iran. Sometimes you have to escalate to de-escalate. And right now, this administration is so afraid of the war spreading, they're actually causing the war to spread. And that's what's so frustrating.
Go after the source of the disease. Congressman Michael Waltz, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
So that's that. It's a sad situation. These two guys lost their lives for what? I don't know why we're still getting involved with this shit. I mean, we've been screwing around over there for the better part of 20 years, and what's really gotten accomplished? I mean, it's just crazy. We got no business screwing around over there. It's time to, let the chips fall where they may. If a country can't take care, we got to stop being the world police. We're broke. This country has no money. This country's a disaster. And, I don't want to get off too far on that. I just wanted to pay my respects to these guys and, talk about what happened a little bit. But in any case, fair winds and following seas, guys. It's a tragedy, but, we got the watch. So, anyways, take it easy, guys.